Hey guys! Let's talk about the M1 and what Apple is doing with that. Why is it exciting? Why everyone is surprised about the benchmark test and or the exporting times of Final Cut Pro? Why is this very reasonable priced entry Mac blowing everything out of the water? What does that actually mean for the industry? Let's talk about after the intro. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. The MacBook Air M1. Why is that such a big thing for Apple? Well, as it turns out, this is Apple's fourth transition. The first one we had in the mid-90s, switched to PowerPC from 1994 to 1996. The second one was a brain transplant. The complete rehaul and completely redesign and reprogramming of the operating system, being OS X. OS X was always designed from the very beginning, 5 years before the transition to a new hardware, silicon, being Intel at that time, running on both the PowerPC and on Intel. The Intel transition then came in 2005. It was announced at WWDC by Steve Jobs for the developers. In the two following years, being 2006 and 2007, Apple turned and switched the entire lineup of Macs to the Intel Silicon-based Macs. And now, in 2020, 15 years later, Apple is doing the same with Apple Silicon. In 2 years, all Macs will be transitioned from Intel-based Macs to Apple Silicon-based Macs. But why? Why Apple want to do that? Well, Apple in the early 2000s was a completely different company. Steve Jobs just came back to save the company. At that time, they didn't have the engineering power and the capabilities financially to be already, back then, the state-of-the-art chip maker and designer they are today. It took them 15 years to be on that level that they can switch their Mac lineup to a very powerful chipset which they designed themselves. And Apple didn't want to do that just as good as the competitors. Apple wanted to knock everything else out of the park to set a statement how good their silicon is, to build a brand that when you hear Apple Silicon that you feel really positive and safe about buying those Macs, having no doubts about them. And that is completely achieved. Everyone is now just like trying to push their hardware they're having until the Mac they're aiming for is released. The MacBook Air M1 is great. It's running circles around my MacBook Pro 15-inch. I cannot wait to see what Apple is doing with the M-chip lineup. I'm waiting personally for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I'm really looking forward to what kind of M-chip they're throwing in there. It will be very exciting to work with that machine. As soon as it comes out, I will have it in my hands. I will make videos and reviews on that. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, like and support the channel. I really appreciate that. Apple was setting a very strong statement with the M chip and the new transition to Apple Silicon. And it's sending a ripple effect through the entire industry. IBM was announcing years back that they're shifting a major portion of their workforce to Macs because Macs are so much cheaper to maintain and better for the users to experience and use. And that was all before the Apple Silicon transition. Now there's also the power coming with that user experience a Mac delivers. IBM, IB freaking M. Well, we remember, right? When Apple introduced the Macintosh, the commercial? Allow me to quote, "On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984. Well, that is really a great part of history to remember. Back then, IBM dominated the marketplace, and Apple desperately tried to make better computers for all of us. It is really great being part of this and seeing now live Apple achieving that goal. Macs over the last 10 years were great, and now they're even better. If you're using a Windows-based system, rightfully so, you made your choice and you have your reasons. It is your responsibility to pick the system getting your workload done in the most efficient way. But it is a responsibility. You owe it to yourself to pick the best system. So have an open mind, because right now is maybe the best time in history to choose a Mac, being more productive. And maybe you can get more value out of that. Thanks guys for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Stay safe and see you in the next one.